another insightful episode of the SaaS Leaders Lounge, your go-to podcast for exploring the intersections of technology, innovation, and leadership. I'm your host, Ramon, and today we are venturing into the fascinating world of casual AI with a very special guest, Beatrice Lafon. With a track record of success in companies like Clears and Superdry, Beatrice has demonstrated her expertise in navigating complex business landscapes and also delivering results that matter. In recent years, Beatrice has shifted her focus towards the tech industry, specifically in the realm of artificial intelligence, where she is now the founding member of the Leadership Council at causalLens. causalLens is pioneering in the field of casual AI, propelling the technology beyond traditional data analytics and predictive models to uncover the cause and effects of relationship that drives the world around us. Beatrice, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show today. How are you and where are you joining us from?
Good morning, Ramon. I'm joining you from Kent in the south of England, where I am based.
Fantastic. That's not too far from myself, to be honest. I guess we're both suffering from this weather at the moment.
Absolutely. Too wet. But good for nature, so no complaints.
I agree. It is quite picturesque where you're from. I believe in Yorden, if I'm not being too personal.
Yes,
Fantastic.
absolutely. A beautiful medieval village in a beautiful, Wild of Kent. And
Yes.
as you may see, I live in a very old property. In fact, my house was built in 1380. So a lot of
wow.
heritage, and I love it. Yeah, great vibes.
Beautiful, I must say. Well, Beatrice, to dive straight into it, what drew you to causalLens in the emerging field of casual AI?
Okay, well, first of all, I mean, just briefly, thank you for this beautiful introduction. I feel very humbled. So, as you said, I'm a retailer, and I've been, retailer for over 40 years. I was a CEO for about 20 years of that time, so about half of my career as an exec. And then for the last 8 years, I have operated as a chair or non-exec director, but always in a consumer space. So I started my career. I want to say that because it's going to give context to what we might discuss later on. I started my career as a merchandiser, so I like numbers, I like results, and I need to know why things happen the way they do. I'm rather analytical, and I need insights to base my decision making. But I was trained and I worked with the power of correlation all my career for all of that time. But now, thanks to causal AI, I can at last understand why and assess the impact of any action I might want to take before I take into action. I mean, for me, that is just super exciting. So you were asking why causalLens, why I joined this business. I chose them because I really relate to their mission, and I love the end-to-end tool that they have developed, which is called Decision OS. causalLens, as you know, is a pioneer in causal AI. It's this new category of intelligent machines that reason the way we do, the way humans do, through cause and effect relationship. So it's kind of very understandable. It's not an opaque technology as far as I'm concerned. And we envision a world where humans will really partner with machines to make radically better decisions. And we believe that causal AI is the key to unlocking this vision of the future. So I mentioned this Decision OS operating system. I mean, I love it, and that's really one of the key reasons why I joined the Leadership Council of causalLens. It's flexible, it's self-service, it's easy to use. It works with any data infrastructure. It plugs in with anything that you may already have in your organization, and it works with a lot of different decision tools. Like action optimization or root cause analysis, which in the past might have been separate items that you would have looked at. So I love the fact that it's user-friendly and it makes a high impact and it solves more critical problems. And that's where really, if I tell you a little bit more about the kind of problems that we work with, you can see why it's a perfect marriage with my executive and now non-executive career. Our top 5 use cases are pricing and promotions, marketing mix optimization, order management, customer retention, and process engineering. All things that have been, my daily kind of bread and butter for 40 years or so. So, my job would have been so much easier if all these things had existed 40 years ago.
Brilliant. I think reflecting on your rich career trajectory, it's definitely understandable how working in the AI space with causalLens has reshaped your views on business innovation, considering the kind of environments you've worked in beforehand. Are you able to highlight a recent innovation or significant breakthrough at causalLens that's pushed the envelope in the AI domain?
Well, I mean, let me give you a couple of examples. First of all, the way it works with Gen AI, large language models, and I think it really redefines the AI landscape because it increases the trust that one can have, in the technology, and it allows company to gain more value from any Gen AI investment they may have made. So, one of the key issues we know of Gen AI is hallucination, but working in partnership with causalLens, you actually stop the hallucinating process occurring. So, as an example, only week before last, there was this lawyer in Vancouver called Chong Ki who actually found herself under investigation because after allegedly using ChatGPT, she to cite case law, but those cases did not exist. And we had the same thing again about 6 months ago. I think it was back in June, where two Manhattan lawyers also
Yeah.
using Gen AI, were fined for submitting 6 fake cases. When you work with causalLens, you actually remove that huge risk which comes with Gen AI. So that symbiotic relationship between the two technology, I think, is a great way in which we redefine the AI landscape. And then the second one, if I give you another example, is really the way Decision OS, the operating system that we've developed, works. It allows you to see the outcome of any decision you might take. So this kind of what if scenario what is possible with the tool. I mean, that is just tremendous as a potential user or any business really. So you know
Yeah.
exactly the value of what you might decide to do before you even take action. It's perfect.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think having a hint at the future, as you just mentioned, and also removing hallucinations, it's absolutely transformative. Overall, it's captivating to see how such breakthroughs at causalLens leads as a kind of a vanguard in AI innovation. How do current trends and breakthroughs in AI shape the strategy and mission at causalLens?
Well, let me just give you a couple of examples, I think, where it's quite obvious. I think the first one, which we will all be familiar with, is the ongoing transition to cloud-based services. And that really has dictated for us the need for a platform which is totally agnostic. And therefore, our platform can be deployed on-prem or on any of the major cloud providers. The second area is really the ongoing improvement in compute efficiency and cloud computing generally. That allows us to offer stronger capabilities that can scale in a very cost efficient manner.
Brilliant. That's excellent. I must say, it just demonstrates again your commitment to remaining at the cutting edge, kind of absorbing and also pioneering AI advancements. So how has causalLens' unique approach to causal AI allowed for innovations that traditionally AI technologies could not achieve?
Well, let me give you an example. We were working a little while ago with a continuous process manufacturing client. And this company was experiencing some issues of a downtime issue with one of the key machines used in that particular production line. It was a complicated piece of equipment that was critical to production. And when the machine stopped, then everything and the whole production line had to stop. And that had been happening, that clogging of that machine had been happening for decades. And the industrial engineers working in that company clearly had been trying to resolve that problem for all these years. And what they were using at the time were correlation based techniques. And at that point, they had not been able to pinpoint the root cause of machine failure. And it was not until they started to work with us and our causal graph specifically that they actually found the issue, which was several steps removed, upstream from the machine, actually was causing the problem. And if I quote, what one of the things that they said at the time is that we would never have found that issue ourselves. So that's real life example of how causal AI with the causalLens tools make a true difference in real life.
Wow. I think it just illuminates the capacity to address complex nuances challenges uniquely. I must say, in your view, what sets Casual Lens apart from other companies working in the AI space?
Well, I think there are a number of reasons why we would see and be different from our competitors. Although I'll say competitors in inverted comma, and you'll see why in a second. I think the first main reason, which certainly I, as a business user, I'm very aware and can see, is that causalLens has created the only end-to-end platform. Unlike all the alternatives, Decision OS, our operating system. Um, Moves from data all the way to decision in one seamless ecosystem. Some other players in the AI space, might be very focused on causal discovery or on building a causal model, but you have no one like us who actually takes you all the way from your own data all the way to the decision and these what if capabilities that I talked about earlier. So that's a huge difference. The second thing is that we actually give you a competitive advantage because usually new technology comes out of research labs. But in our case, causalLens and our tools have been battle tested. They've been developed in real life situation with real enterprise, with real people, commenting and together, developing the technology. The third element I think sets us apart is that we embrace open source. We know we are the pioneer in causal AI space. I mean, since our inception back in 2017, nearly 8 years ago. But wherever possible, causalLens makes it seamless to plug and play with the causal AI open source packages. And therefore, it allows for any enterprise to have that total freedom of choice as to which way you want to go and how you want to plug your various option. But however, and that's going to be my fourth point about our point of difference, the tools that we provide, Open Decision OS, actually reduces the total cost of ownership because you can indeed plug and play on what you want. But if you go down that route, as we all know, in time, what you do is you create a bespoke system, which can be complicated, certainly is expensive to run, to update, to maintain. When you have an
Yeah.
alternative like causalLens that gives you that end-to-end solution, one system, one team to work with. And then my last point, which is not the least of the points, is that we have built a world-class research and development unit with over 50 years of combat experience. And we do see our role not merely as being a participant in causal AI, but we really want to be a driving force, in that world. I mean, to date, in just the 7 and a bit years of existence, we've raised over $51 million, and all that money is invested in developing causal AI so that, we can develop the premier causal AI tools so that you don't have to.
Yeah. No, I guess yeah, it's commendable how causal lens pioneers and causality. It definitely offers insights that truly differentiate it in the AI landscape from all the founders I've spoken to before, working in the same space.
Actually, we want to work in collaboration. That's why I said competitors in inverted bracket before,
Yeah,
because we don't have that language of competition. We have, and that's where open source. That's what it's all about: doing things
it's
together
true.
for better solutions over time.
It's true. It's all about sharing knowledge and with one another now as we explore kind of this unknown place we're heading to at the moment. But I think being leaders within the industry, there's a lot of collaborations which could aid kind of your growth at the same time with benefiting others. So yeah, why not be open to a competition as well? As it's not necessarily that, as I understand what you mean. Going on to my next point, I think something that we should definitely take importantly in nowadays is kind of the AI ethical implications that are increasingly under scrutiny. So, what steps is Causal Lens taking to ensure ethical considerations are at the core of your AI solutions?
Well, by its very nature, causal AI helps avoid the ethical implication that less transparent tools, like neural networks, for instance, have been plagued by historically. The way our tools work is very easy for any auditor or such like individual to actually see how decisions are made, all the steps that have been taken, how, from the data point you've got to this scenario, and the fact that indeed you have scenarios to look at, and it's still the human who makes the decision as to which way you're going to go.
Yeah, I agree with yourself, most definitely upon that one. There's a lot of debate around the potential for AI to outpace human understanding and also control. How does Causal Lens address these concerns, especially regarding causal AI?
Well, our solution uses what we call causal graph. And, I think that that actually eliminates the problem for causal AI because, the way the causal model really dictates how decisions are made, and humans are the central part in creating and validating the causal model. So really, there is no opportunity for AI to outpace human understanding or control in the field of causal AI.
That's it. No, thank you very much. I'm sure our listeners would love that answer as well. Looking towards the future, what AI trends are you most excited about, and how is Causal Lens positioning itself to be the leader in these developments?
Well, I think probably in at least two ways. I think one of them, and I've touched on that before, is that that symbiotic relationship with Gen AI and causal AI. I think working together could be very, very powerful. And in fact, we work very often in CRM and call center environment, and the combination of the two technologies creates some very powerful scripts for call center operators to use. And I recall a little while ago we're working with this insurance company on their retention strategy, and it had been pinpointed that the most effective retention strategy was that call to the customer with a 35% discount on offer as a way to retaining that customer. But working with the team, creating the causal graph and the discovery and all the steps that that we go through, we were actually able to show, working with the company, that actually the contact by a human was actually what made a difference, not the 35% discount, which is, what most of us initially might have thought. And correlation,
Yeah.
for instance, would not help you determine that. So that's where I'm so excited about the power of causal AI, really that ability to understand why things happen. So I think that's one of the ways. I think the other way is that clearly I do believe causal AI, can advance the way humanity works and make decisions, but without the risk and the fears which have been associated with AI. The way causal AI works, there is no opportunity for AI to run amok, to go crazy.
No, I agree with you. I think human interaction, it's great to know it always will always be vital. I guess it goes back to that cliche saying that AI won't necessarily replace us, but someone using AI might do. So I guess where you mentioned that human interaction and kind of having that person kind of speak the discount directly to the customer definitely makes a massive difference from having a robotic machine do that to yourself. Especially when kind of in business development, we notice nowadays email campaigns, even video campaigns are much different from actually cold calling, and the effects benefits from that, having that human interaction and bringing it back to you. Overall, it's exhilarating to anticipate the future with Causal Lens pioneering, driving AI in different directions. If there were no barriers, what is one AI solution you wish Causal Lens could develop tomorrow, and why?
Well, you did say without barriers. So it's time to dream. I mean, and that's a personal view, not a company view. But
Yeah.
I would love it if we could create a causal model, for governments and global institutions, on how to achieve world peace. And you know what? The model could actually tell you what the value of that decision could be before you even decide to go forward. If that could be a tool to get everyone to work together, well, that would be a dream come true for me.
I think, yeah, your vision symbolizes the profound potential AI holds, and I would be eager to see how causalLens might realize such innovations and with your impact as being a founding chair member. I think that would be something that will benefit the world so much, even just understanding the kind of cause of it, as you mentioned. But yeah, transitioning to our light-hearted segment, I think it would be great to uncover some personal preferences and also fun facts for yourself. Are you ready for our light-hearted quickfire section?
I'm ready.
Brilliant. Do you
Curious
pref-
about what you're going to ask me.
And we'll start off easy. Do you prefer breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast.
Brilliant. Do you prefer leather or lace?
Do I prefer?
Leather or lace?
Or leather for sure.
Brilliant. Stand-up comedy
Although it's
or a
very bad for
musical?
the environment, I'm very aware of that. So it could be vegetable leather. Does not need to be animal leather.
Yeah, I understand completely. I'll be sure to not edit that part out for yourself. I think that's important to keep. Do you prefer stand-up comedy or musicals?
Oh, difficult one. I like both. I'm going to say stand-up comedians as I get older. Yeah.
Brilliant. Horror movie or thrillers?
Oh, thrillers for sure. I hate horror movies. I think life is frightening enough.
It's true. I hate horror movies as well, to be honest, and so does the missus. So yeah, we haven't watched one in years in our household. Would it be wealth or happiness?
Happiness every day.
Nice. Fame or privacy?
Privacy
Nice.
for
And last
sure.
question. Yeah, I agree. Silence or noise?
Oh, silence for sure.
Great.
Especially having
Um,
worked, in open plan environments all my life.
it's
I
true. It's
love
true.
the
And
quiet.
yeah, I'm also fond of where you're from as well in Jordan, and I believe that's more on the quiet side, more nature vibes going on. Brilliant. So we like to keep our collaborative nature on the SAS Leaders Lounge podcast. We always have our previous guests answering question to our next, and you would also have an opportunity to ask a question to our following guest. So previously we had a lady called Palazzolo. She's the technical co-founder of Sunrise AI, and her question to yourself would be, what inspired you to tackle challenges or the solutions you address?
Okay, so of course I'm not talking as a founder, which I guess she was in her company, but as a member of the leadership council at causalLens, the bit that excites me is the fact that we can start to answer why in at a level of accuracy that was not available before. If I compare that to correlation technique, and for me that is very inspiring, very exciting.
I agree. I agree. That's a great answer as well. And I guess if she ever wanted to learn more about where that answer comes from, I'll be happy to connect you both together, as I believe she'll be inspired by your journey as well. But now to our question for the next guest. We've got a gentleman called Eric Topham on. He's the co-founder of a company called Octopipe. They basically streamlined the entire life cycle from effortless setup and training to seamless deployment, fine-tuning, and also continuous development. What would your question be for Eric on the next podcast session?
Well, my question for Eric actually is not so much a business question as a personal question. I would be interested to hear if he had his life again, and I know he's still a young man, but is there anything he would do differently based on what he has learned so far? Any advice therefore he can give to all of us? If he had that magic wand, what
Yeah,
would he do
yeah.
differently next time round?
Definitely. Well, Eric's had an esteemed career so far, so I guess he's got many highlights and lowlights that he'll be able to share on the next episode. And please do tune in to find out Eric's answers to your question as well. Um, as we come to the ending of our session, where can our listeners find more about yourself and also Casual Lens?
Well, I mean, as you asked me earlier, privacy is what I prefer. So, I mean, I do not have a very good profile. In fact, I don't really do much social media, but you can find a bit more about me on LinkedIn. And of course, if you do Google search. And same for
Brilliant.
causalLens, of
I'll
course.
be sure.
causalLens, call it clearly, go to the website, you got a lot of information there. And
Yeah.
our CEO Darko is a most inspiring, brilliant mind. Very, very inspiring
Brilliant.
person.
Fantastic. No, thank you so much for those details. I understand your privacy and I'll be sure to respect that. We'll put a causal lens kind of website and also where to find more about the founders if anyone's potentially interested in becoming a client of yours. But ultimately, with that, we've come to the end of today's episode of SaaS Leaders Lounge. Beatrice, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey, insights, and also the exciting developments at Causal AI. It's been an absolute pleasure. To our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe to the SaaS Leaders Lounge on your favorite podcast platforms to stay updated on our AI series and much more. We have a fantastic lineup of guests just like Beatrice, and we don't want you to miss out the wisdom they have to share. Until next time, keep innovating and leading the way in the SaaS realm. Goodbye for now. Thanks again for your time, Beatrice.
Bye bye, Roman.
Take
Thank you
care.
very much. Thank you.
Thanks.